Hello friends, welcome back to another episode. And in this episode, we'll talk about how we can enable the authorization, role, and authentication stuff for your CAPM application. The application that we built in our earlier episode, that is an animal adoption application, the same application I have opened as a reference, and we'll add all the logics in that same application, of course. So before we start, enabling our authorization and role kind of stuff, quickly check out what this application does. If you have not gone through those discussions yet, I'll mention all the video URLs in the description box. You can follow along and complete that before you come to this discussion. Okay. And also, I have given the GitHub repository link so that you can clone it and you can try experimenting. So let's get started. If I click on this one, you'll see certain user prompt, and the user which I am using is a test user having a role of adopter. If I sign in, it will open up our beautiful animal adoption application. You can see the list of animals having different health, breed, age, and adoption status. Side by side, you can see certain adopt button. Clicking on that, it will open up a pop-up to enter certain adopter details. Just enter certain dummy phone number. Let's add some email ID. Let's add certain address. Click on adopt, and you see the animal gets adopted, and the status is now showing from available to pending. Now, if we click on go, that gets refreshed, and that information now available in different variant called pending tab. If I click on that, you can see the record. Now, if you want to go to the detail page, you'll see the similar adoption adopter details, also the animal relevant information. Now here, one thing is missing, and that is whatever the animals that I have adopted with my ID, I don't know that, right? So if I have multiple users concurrently using the same applications and they have adopted some animals, that I'll see in the pending state. But whichever I have adopted, that list is missing. So next, we'll do what? We'll bring those information in another tab over here, and that will list down whatever I have adopted. And we'll see that multiple concurrent users, if they use this application, then how this overall looks. Okay, that is important to talk about the security. Okay, so let's get into that in our VS Code and start doing the development. Before you start, make sure you subscribe my channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon, as it will link me to the next time I upload a new content for you. I hope you will enjoy this session, so stay tuned till the end and happy learning. So we are now in VS Code, and go to the web app under your app folder, right click and click on show page map. It will open up this to list report and the object detail page. Edit this animal list report because we want to add one more entity set under the as a different tab, and here is the table which is listing down the animal records with two different perspective or views. Let's add one more view, and here I'll add a table view, and there in the drop down I can select adoption applications. Click on add, and the new list is actually added. Is another table, and you can see all the columns and things we are supposed to add. Before we add these columns, let's change this label a little bit, applications, and make it internationalized. All right, now in the column section, select and click on basic columns. What are the things we want? I want application summary, application date. I want adoption status code, health status code, and the name of the animal should be display name. Let's click on add. So let's change the display name. Let's create it on, let's put it at the first, and let's change it as application date. Now application summary, we can put a simple summary. But health status, we have certain criticality that you have seen in the last episode. So similar way, we can add certain criticality here as well. We can put health status as criticality, and criticality representation I would like to add a with icon. Okay, And display name, I think should come just after application date. And we can just set it as animal. All right. So that way the change is made, it's auto saved and my server is restarted. Let's go to our browser. I think it's not coming. No worries. Sometimes it happens. So what we'll do, we'll just make stop this application and we'll rerun CDS watch. And we'll again refresh this application. Voila, you see the applications, another new tab appeared. Currently, it doesn't show anything because it's no animal we have adopted yet. Let's click on adopt once again. Adopt, now no complaint and it's adopted, and the status again back to pending. Let's go to application status, click on go, and you can see the respective information now is available over here. By the way, the health status is not coming because of the CSS thing. Yes, here it is. We can change it a little bit. I'm putting it as at 120 pixel. So let's go back and hopefully now it will be more easy to check everything coming. It's a bit shrink now, but at least now we are able to see all the properties that we have selected. All right, so what we'll do, we'll get logged in this application with another user ID, which will also have an adapter role. And ideally, that user is not supposed to see this record. Makes sense, right? Because I will only see whichever I have created, and other users are not supposed to see the details. So let's get into that. Let's log in with another user ID and check out how it behaves. Let's open it in Chrome with localhost same. Click on web app, and yeah, another pop-up I'm expecting. Let's change this one to off. Yeah, so now let's put it as user 2, which is another user having the same role called adapter. And I can see the details and pending. Again, I'm seeing it, but the application, I am not able to see anything. Okay. That's good, but how it happened? Let's quickly check out the code to understand how this I'm easily filtering it out. If you go back to our data model called schema CDS, not schema, I made bad. It should be service.cds, and here is an adoption application. As you can see, this is what I'm listing as a new tab called applications, and I'm filtering it already with a where condition that created by should be the current logged in user. And that's why I don't see the one created with another user called user1, and that is logical. But you can see the pending status, and if I click on that, I can see that details which actually pending, and here I can see the adapted details like phone number, email, and that is not correct, right? We'll fix this, but at least from this list one, we can see it is not appearing anything. Let's click one more from this user ID. Let's click another random bird and click on adopt. So it gets adopted. If I go to application and click on OK, yeah, the bird I am able to see over here. But here, if I just click on go, I still see the fluffy cat. Okay, I'm not seeing the other user details. So this is a filtered way. We didn't put any authorization specifically. But here one thing I just told that I can open up this pending state, and in the bar, if I click, I can see the other user phone numbers and emails. Ideally, I'm not supposed to. Now let's check out one of the problem. The problem is either in all animals level or a pending level, anywhere from I have a provision to delete the records. Let's say I can delete this record which other one has put a request for, and I'm able to delete it. It's asking for delete. Do you want to delete? I say yes. Boom, it's deleted. And the other user, if I go and if I just click on go, I can still see the application is showing, but the respective animals and those details gone. It is not referring. So my application is actually manipulated by another user. Okay, and also I'm not supposed to allow the end user to delete the master data. Maybe the admin will have a provision that's separate, but end user not supposed to delete the master record. They can delete their own application, which is absolutely fine. So let's write some authorization code now to our model, and let's see with the service definition how we can tackle it. Now to control that behavior, we can add some restriction over here under the animal entity, and we can put kind of a JSON object, and here we can put as grant, and in an array we can add the different operation that I wish an adapter should perform and not beyond. So I'm saying that grant is only for read, and then put a comma and put the role for which I'm allocating this grant, and it's an adapter role, and that's all. So this is one of the role I have just added in a JSON. And if you want to add multiple, let's say for admin as well, then you can put it within a square bracket, and we can add more number of role in a comma separated, like grant this time should be for let's say star, means everything, all the operations a person can perform if the person is an admin. Right, I think pretty straightforward, this particular restriction that I have applied on the animals. So let's save this and rerun this application using cds watch command, and we'll see the difference now. Let's open up the browser, put web app, and let's put user 1. And now it will be showing the data, as you can see. But now if I select it and click on delete, and it is asking for the prompt, let's click on delete, and now it's going for a forbidden. Once again, let me try once again, and now it is giving a forbidden. It is no more giving an allowing me to delete any master data. Okay, but when we'll deploy this application to BTP, then currently we are doing the testing everything under package.json with certain added user, test user with different roles. But when we're deploying to BTP, then we need to create a binding with an XSUA service, user authentication and authorization service. And for that, we need to create a binding file called accesssecurity.json. And that service will refer that application and different roles. And therefrom in BTP, we will be able to test once we attach the respective role to the logged in user ID. So to create that access security, we can create it manually, but it's pretty easy to use a command line tool. So we can add this command under CLI called cds compile, and let's compile this service.cds file, and then using the XSUA service and just add an XSUA compatible file accesssecurity.json. Let's execute this command, and it will create this file called accesssecurity.json. And now you see that roles, the scopes gets added for both adapter and admin. The role templates added with a scope reference for adapter and admin. And this role already I have added to the package.json under the test user as a adapter and admin. All right. And so once we deploy this application to BTP, then the XSUA service will be able to bind following this template. And from the role authorization mapping, the application will be able to understand which activities or which operations to perform. That way, in the BTP side, it will be working. Okay, but from locally, we can test it with a package.json as I've just shown. Let's move on a little bit more, and we'll see another challenge. So now we are able to see the data, and we have seen that we are not allowed to delete any record of the master data side. But click on this adapt, it's no more opening the pop-up. Okay, and if I go back to our backend, I see there is a 403 kind of a forbidden error is coming. What happened? What wrong? And if we just see the error log, it's actually doing what? It is actually doing a context binding for the specific animal, and from there it is calling a function called getDefaults. Because you know from the past episode that when we click on the adopt, it first look for whether against my user ID any adapter already created in the system or not. If yes, then it will basically fetch all the adapter details by default, and there is no point to re-enter all the values by the adapter each time. So it is making a read operation now again out of this get details function. So let's go to the get detail function a little below, and in the service, and we can see there is a get details function and it's making a read operation. And here also now I have to allow the activities that it's supposed to perform because it comes under the same animal entity. @restrict, sorry, it should be it's like that. Remember, this is a function name and this is a function call. We'll be adding something before that, okay? And this one restrict, then colon, and then an array. We can put we can directly put something, I believe. 1 second. As read, and we can say that it is available to as adapter. Okay, so I've just put the restriction is only for the read and only for the adapter. If I save this one, it will restart the server, and then we'll do what? We'll again try to get the details. So let's go back. Now it started, click on adopt, voila, it is now able to open the pop-up because it has the read authorization enabled. So let's put certain phone numbers again. Let's click on adopt. It's all again stuck. What happened? It's again forbidden. Okay, it is not allowing me to perform the next action. Let's see how to fix it now. Again 403, certain authorization missing for me, but what exactly it is trying to perform now? It is trying to perform a create operation, kind of a post operation actually, and applying an adopt. So this adopt is nothing but an action that is being performed, and it's expect a create kind of a role should have for this adapter as well. So for that similar way, we can put something as @restrict colon, and within we can put create. So this is the new role that I'm attaching for this adopt. Okay, if I don't have this create, then it will not be able to create any entry in behind the scene. So let's save this record now, and let's read on the application. Let's once again go to a browser. It's now opened. I'm able to click on adopt. Excellent. I'm now able to enter the entries to create the application, which you can see over here. Fantastic. Now let's do another activities now. This is my application. If I select this record and go for a delete, it is allowing me to delete the record. So let's delete it first and then see the problem. So now if I go there, it is showing animals as 7 and pending as 1. But ideally that application is actually deleted. Okay, so there is no such adapter, active adapter having an application for that floppy cat. So there is the database inconsistency. So ideally, once I delete this particular application, then I should make my animal status back to available, and the adapter linkage I also should be removed out of. So let's write our custom logic under the init function. So they start with this.on, and the event should be delete. The entity which we want to apply this delete event, are is called adoption applications. This is an entity. So, and then we want to put a request handler or callback as a fat arrow, and now we can write our custom logic. So what we want to do, we want to access first the entities that we want to apply or to perform the action. You can copy this line because eventually we will extract the animals, we will update the animal status, as well as we will perform the delete operation on this particular entity. So first extract this to 1, and next get the adoption application ID, right? Once we get the ID, what we want to do, select the animal ID against the application ID, right? Because we have to update the animal, so we need this animal ID. Once we get the animal ID, it is okay now to delete the selected application. And finally, update animal adoption status. Also remove the adopter link or linkage. Okay, so this is what we have to perform. Now to get the application ID, we can write something like this called ID, and what we want to get the details from, request dot data, and from there we can extract ID. This ID is nothing but the application ID. Now get the animal ID from the animal entity, so make a query on that. Let's say right have it, and then select, let's select one record, one entry from this adoption applications. Let's copy and paste it. You can write this way. And now let's create a handler for that. Let's say it's A for adoption application, and what we want to access, the animal ID. So animal underscore ID. Now we can go to the schema quickly, and not this one, but DB schema, and we can go here and click on this SQL preview, and you can see this is my animal adoption application, and we want to select the animal ID. Okay, so this is what the field we need to select. Let's go there, and this is what we want to read. And once we read, we need to put a where clause, and in the where clause we can write that the ID, whatever we need to match with, should match with this particular application ID, right? So there is some error happening because this is an await, so we have to apply the async keyword, and now there is no error and it's okay. Once we get this animal ID, let's extract that, something like animal ID. Okay, so let's take this animal ID over here, or I should say, I think it's better to put this way. Okay, because we are doing an extraction, so we can put that animal ID. So once we get the animal ID, the next status should be again await, but this time delete from the adoption application. Where we can put this ID match with this ID. So that way the adoption application entry will be deleted, the selected applications will be removed. And finally, we can update as update dot entity, and the entity name is animals. So we can put like dot with, and now we can put the property that we want to update for this animal entity. And first thing is, of course, the adoption status. Again, go to schema and go here, SQL. This is our animal entity. You can see the adoption status is actually adoption status underscore code. So this is what we need to apply over here. And what the value we want to update with, it should be A, means back to available once we remove this application. And another one should be the adopter ID. So you have to delink the value. So you can just put as null. Okay. But for what? Where this condition matches, and the ID should match with animal ID. Correct. So let's close it and let's maximize and see what's happening. So first I'm extracting the ID, which is the application ID, which I'm going to delete. Before I delete, let's extract the respective animal ID, right? And put it under animal ID variable or constant rather, and then just delete the application from the application database or entity. Finally, update the animal entity with updating following two properties: adoption status back to available, and delink the adapter ID by setting it to null against, of course, the ID where it matches this animal ID. All set. So what next? Let's test it and see how this deletion now works. Application restarted. So let's adopt once again. Let's go to application, applications available, and let's refresh. It is 7, pending is 1. All are correct, working fine. So next action is I want to delete this record, and if I delete, I want to set the status back to available for this fluffy cat. Let's delete it. Boom. Now pending and update, you see pending is no more because this fluffy cat backs it to available, right? Let's fix the final problem of our application, and that is revealing the adopter status to other user. Let's say this is the user 2 logged in via Chrome browser, and I can see the pending status, and I can see some adopter details with certain personal information. And I'm not supposed to see those details because the original user is actually user 1, and for him displaying this record makes sense. So how we can fix it?